You can be deserving and still lose. You can have a good heart, good intentions, and even a good idea, and still be overlooked, outpaced, or replaced. Because the world doesn't move for the deserving. It moves for the disciplined. Discipline is the quiet builder, the slow architect, the uncelebrated craftsman working behind the curtain while the crowd cheers for the flashier, louder, more gifted performers. But let time run its course, and you'll see. The disciplined win. Not because they were the most talented, but because they refused to waste it. There's something brutally honest about life. It doesn't hand out prizes based on potential. It rewards what you actually build, what you actually do. And that difference, the space between someone who dreams and someone who disciplines, that space defines a life. You can want the good life. You can believe in yourself. You can even pray for change. But if you don't train yourself to do what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it, you'll be left living in the shadow of your own excuses. The truth? Most people fail not because they lacked opportunity, but because they lacked order. There is a law older than ambition, older than talent. It's the law of effort. The law of harvest. You reap what you sow. Not what you hope for. Not what you post about. Not what you think you deserve because you had a rough childhood. No. Life is watching your patterns, not your promises. And if you're showing up late, cutting corners, quitting early, avoiding discomfort, then life doesn't care how bad you want success. It only reflects what you've earned in discipline. See, you can feel inspired for a weekend. You can change your screensaver to some bold quote. You can even start the year with a powerful resolution. But without discipline, your desire will rot in place. Discipline isn't a feeling. It's not motivation. It's not a passing burst of energy. Discipline is what you do after the motivation has left. It's the workout when you're tired. It's the journaling when you're confused. It's the reading when you'd rather scroll. It's the deep work while others chase distractions. It's the consistency when applause is gone and no one's watching but you. There's a reason why some people quietly rise above the rest. They understand a simple truth. Standards are stronger than feelings. And while most are negotiating with themselves, trying to feel ready, trying to find balance, trying to get in the mood, the disciplined are already moving. They don't need the stars to align. They don't wait for ideal conditions. They build anyway. They've made a vow to master their habits before their habits master them. Because they know the real war isn't out there. It's in here. In the quiet negotiations of the mind. Where every excuse sounds noble. Where every distraction looks justified. Where comfort pretends to be kindness. But comfort isn't your friend. Comfort is the sedative that keeps potential from becoming reality. Ask yourself, what have I trained myself to do? Because life doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you've trained into your identity. Every day, every small act, you're casting votes for the kind of person you're becoming. So the question isn't, do you want success? The question is, have you become someone who can carry it? You don't get a strong mind by accident. You build it. You forge it in struggle. You test it with consistency. You sharpen it with truth. And that takes discipline. Not once a year. Not once a week. But every single day. You don't rise to your dreams. You fall to your patterns. And your patterns are built in the dark, when no one claps, when no one sees, when no one's checking in. Success isn't a lottery. It's not luck. It's a quiet accumulation of responsible decisions. And that's the tragedy of most lives. They spend decades waiting for a breakthrough. That discipline could have built brick by brick. Here's the hard truth. There are no hacks. No perfect routines. No overnight answers. There's just the grind of showing up with integrity, again and again. You become dangerous when your life is built on discipline. Because then, you're no longer reactive. You're not a slave to moods. You don't get thrown off by criticism, chaos, or delay. You're anchored. The man with discipline doesn't panic. He plans. He prepares. He executes. Because he's built to carry the pressure. He's not praying for easy. He's trained for hard. Look around, most people aren't failing because they're incapable. They're failing because they never trained their will. You don't need a new dream. You need a stronger foundation. And that foundation is built with the bricks of self-respect. Wake up on time. Honor your word. Follow through on the hard thing. Train your body. Protect your mind. Guard your time like your future depends on it, because it does. You're not behind in life. You're just undisciplined with your time. You're not unlucky. You're untrained. You're not lost. You've just been led by feeling instead of principle. Discipline is the great equalizer. It turns ordinary men into uncommon forces. It doesn't care where you started. It doesn't care how broken you feel. It only asks, will you do what needs to be done, even when it's not convenient, even when it's not fair, even when you're not in the mood? Because that's who builds legacies. The quiet ones. The focused ones. The ones who don't skip steps just to look successful for a moment. They're building something real. And real takes time. It takes repetition. It takes a philosophy rooted in responsibility. Responsibility means this. If it's in my life, I either created it or allowed it. And that means I have the power to change it. No more blaming. No more waiting for life to get better. You get better. You grow stronger. You become more focused, more aware, more intentional with every breath. Because once you take full ownership, discipline becomes freedom. Freedom from guilt. Freedom from regret. Freedom from that sick feeling in your gut that knows you're capable of more. So stop asking for easier days. Start becoming a stronger version of you. Don't chase motivation. Build discipline. Build a life that respects time, honors effort, and multiplies your energy instead of draining it. The world doesn't reward the deserving. It rewards those who train, who sacrifice, who sharpen themselves until they become undeniable. So if you want more, be more. And if you're ready to live a life that reflects your true potential, then remember this. The life you want will only arrive through the discipline you've avoided. And the future doesn't belong to the dreamers. It belongs to the doers. Because there's a point in every life where you must stop rehearsing the idea of who you could become. And step into it. Step into the discomfort. Step into the early mornings. Step into the hard conversations. Step into the truth you've been avoiding. Because everything you want, everything that matters, is sitting on the other side of discipline. Not passion. Not talent. Not good luck. Discipline. The rare quality in a world obsessed with shortcuts. The ancient principle in a culture addicted to ease. The uncommon edge in a society that keeps lowering the standard just to feel better about staying average. But you're not here to stay average. If you were, you wouldn't still be listening. There's something in you that knows. There's something in you that remembers what you were made for. Something in you that's tired of breaking promises to yourself. Tired of playing small while life passes by. Tired of watching other people commit while you just contemplate. You're not stuck. You're undisciplined. And the moment you stop lying to yourself about that, everything changes. Let the world sleep in. Let the crowd distract itself. Let the doubters laugh. You keep showing up. Because you're not moved by moods anymore. You're not held hostage by motivation. You've grown past that. You've grown into someone who does what's right even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because you've learned. Pain is not your enemy. Discomfort is not your enemy. The true enemy is delayed potential. The true enemy is living your life in pieces because you never built the structure to hold your greatness. You think greatness shows up in a spotlight? It doesn't. It shows up in your morning routine. It shows up in the decision to read when others scroll, to lead when others wait, to train when others sleep, to build when others talk. Greatness is not a moment. It's a mindset wrapped in daily discipline, carved into character over time. So take this moment right now, not as inspiration, but as a line in the sand. This is the moment you stop letting feelings steer the ship. This is the moment you stop hoping and start training. This is the moment you stop saying I know and start doing. Because one day, your name won't just be attached to potential. It will be attached to results, to impact, to a life well lived. And when they ask how you did it, how you changed, how you became who you are, you won't say it was luck. You won't say it was fate. You'll say, I trained for this. I bled for this. I showed up when I didn't want to, and that's why I'm here. Not because I was the most gifted. Not because I was the most deserving. But because I was the most disciplined. And that's the difference that makes all the difference. The world doesn't reward the deserving. It rewards the disciplined. And if you're ready, if you're truly ready, then start today. Start now. Because this moment is the one your future self is begging you not to waste. There is no ceremony for the first day you change. No trumpet. No parade. No applause. It's quiet. It's uncomfortable. And it's necessary. Because the real transformation doesn't begin when people notice. It begins when you stop needing them to. When you stop looking outward for validation. And start looking inward for alignment. When your life is no longer built on hype, but on habits. When you realize that discipline is love. Love for your future self. Love for your family. Love for your mission. Love for your standards. And love, real love, doesn't always feel good in the moment. It says no when others say yes. It delays pleasure so it can build purpose. It wakes you up early, holds you accountable, and demands more from you than you think you can give. Not because it's cruel, but because it knows who you can become. You don't need more potential. You need more precision. More follow-through. More self-respect in the daily decisions you think don't matter. Because those are the ones that shape you. And the best part? Discipline compounds. The smallest disciplined act, done daily, will build a mind that doesn't fold under pressure. It will build a life that doesn't fall apart when things get hard. It will build a soul that doesn't beg for permission to be great. You'll start to feel it. When you walk into a room and your presence speaks louder than your words. When your routine becomes your refuge. When you trust yourself again, not because you hope you'll follow through, but because you know you will. That's the reward of discipline. It's not just about productivity. It's not just about results. It's about becoming undeniable in a world of doubt. And there will be days you want to quit. Days when you question if it's worth it. Days when it would be easier to coast, to blend in, to just be normal. But those are the exact days that will define your future. Not the easy days. The days when everything in you wants to stop, and you don't. That's when you level up. That's when you earn your next season. Because life doesn't open new doors for the interested. It opens them for the disciplined. So keep going. Get up when you don't feel like it. Push when it's boring. Stay focused when it's quiet. Do it for the man or woman you promised yourself you'd become. Not for the world. Not for the likes. But because you owe it to yourself to live the life you were built for. Not the one you've settled for. And one day, years from now, you'll look back. Not at a highlight reel, but at a body of work. A legacy crafted by thousands of small, disciplined moments. You'll see the line between who you used to be and who you chose to become. And you'll know. You didn't wait. You didn't wish. You worked. And when the world handed its rewards, you didn't hope to be picked. You'd already earned it. Because in the end, the world doesn't reward the deserving. It rewards the disciplined. And now, so will you.